Come one, come all. This is Barefoot Banjo's video talking about the King 1480 valve. This is a very interesting valve design. I'm sure there are other King trombones, if not other trombones on top of that had valve designs like this, but it's unlike anything I've ever seen, and it's pretty uncommon. And that's not because of just the sideways lever. A lot of King trombones and other trombones have that sideways lever, but that's part of what makes it interesting. What's really interesting about it is how the valve comes apart, and the fact that since it's a different design, they designed it to where you only need a screwdriver to take it apart. There's no rubber mallets, there's no hammering here. You should also have a cloth, and I'll show you why in a minute. So let's just get into it and take it apart. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to unscrew this linkage here. So let's get onto that. I'll start it with the screwdriver, but then I'll unscrew it with my fingers so I don't drop it. Alright. Good stuff. So now this thumb lever here is totally separated. So this is where the cloth comes in. Just take that there, and that keeps the cloth from, that keeps the lever from hitting the valve casing, which is never good. So now, just like any other rotary valve, you have this central screw here, which attaches the core of the valve to the linkage. So we're going to take that out. This has a lot of thread on it. I don't know what it is with King trombones and them putting way too much thread on things, but whatever. And then, just like any other rotary valve, you have to take this arm off. So we're just going to get a screwdriver and pop that off. Comes off really easily on this trombone, as opposed to some other trombones whose valves I've taken apart. So now what's interesting here is that there's actually a lock ring which comes off. And it's just a lock ring, so I can set that down. So the back plate, or the witness mark plate, or whatever you want to call it, is actually attached to this, I don't even know what this part would be called on the back here, since it's a different valve design. Like the bumper plate, as you can see, you got the two screws here, but the back plate of the valve is also here. As you can see, there's the witness mark right there. And it's all in this one piece. So that's another piece to set to the side, and that means that all that's left in here is the valve core. And another interesting part about this valve is that it has full circular passageways for the airflow. Most valves would have like a C shape or something. You've probably seen it before if you've watched videos of valves. So that's another part to take down here. So I know what you're thinking. And the valve casing here, how this part would seem hard to clean. You'd have to take a screwdriver and put cloth over it and do that, which is probably not advisable, even though there is cloth over the screwdriver. But King thought about that too, and they made this part detachable as well, so you can clean that. You can oil the top of the valve if you want. Really cool design. Let me get a better look at that for you guys. So now that screws in, and for this whole process, I didn't need to hit anything with a rubber mallet. It's amazing, simply amazing. So now, the reassembly, just drop the valve in, and then just drop this part in, the back plate. I guess I'll call it a back plate. You do have to align it. Let me find that. There you go. Don't forget the lock ring. Let me move the cloth here so that doesn't get into the threads of the lock ring. Now this part you actually do have to do pretty tight, because this part does around a little bit. That'll make the valve really loud when you move it. So, again, don't over tighten, but this does have to be really snug on it. Alright, so that's all good stuff. So now we get let me align it here. Oh, that's backwards. Get the arm here, put that back on. Some trombones I've taken the valves apart on have needed rubber mallets to get this part back on, but this part you can just gotten it aligned here. I am not at a good angle to see this. Come on, get back on there. There we go. Just back on there. We can just screw this back on. Alright, let's finish the job with our handy dandy screwdriver. And finally, you can carefully remove the cloth here and reattach this linkage. So, let me just line that up here. It's easier to do this part by hand and then finish it with the screwdriver. Let's get that aligned. Start that off. And of course, finish it off with the screwdriver. And there you go.